Chapter 52-42. Yi-Ching Luo's expression turned gloomy. That pair of long and narrow eyes were filled with anger. Her slender fingers clenched into a fist, as a biting cold sharpness surged in her eyes. Very angry? It's right to be angry. Huang Wuyo looked at Yi-Ching Luo's expression and laughed even more savagely. Seeing you angry but unable to do anything to me, it really makes me feel carefree. So what if I've been sealed? Don't I still have to use my life to fight? All of you will die one by one, with your souls scattered. As for me, I can still be fine, or I can just watch all of you die one by one in order to kill me. Ha ha ha. A bunch of fools. A bunch of fools. Huang Wuyo's tone was filled with rampant ridicule. That obviously handsome but because of his crazed twisted expression, it looked extremely terrifying, as a maniacal smile surfaced. Yi-Ching Luo's expression, in the midst of rage, gradually calmed down along with Huang Wuyo's maniacal ridicule. Her eyes were icy cold as she stared at Huang Wuyo expressionlessly. When he was done laughing, he then opened his mouth indifferently. So what if you're alive? Aren't you still suffering from endless loneliness and the oppression of being bound? Without freedom, you're just living alone, so. That's why you're so twisted. The young lady's voice was very calm, without much fluctuation in her emotions. But the words that came out made Huang Wuyo's laughter stop abruptly. Huang Wuyo's eyes turned cold. What do you know? He stopped Yi-Ching Luo's voice and shouted angrily, I only want to be strong. Only to be above all living beings, to be invincible and powerful. As long as I'm strong, everything will be under my control. There are so many people who are willing to submit to me. How could I possibly be lonely? His face was cold and arrogant, with a tinge of ridicule, as he sneered at Yi-Ching Luo. As for freedom. This seat will have absolute freedom soon, by then. You will be under me. As long as I'm around, I won't let you undo the seal. Yi-Ching Luo's voice was indifferent, as her long and narrow eyes were filled with a faint glow. Huang Wuyo sneered, you sure are confident. Yi-Ching Luo's gaze was fixated on his face without blinking, as her pink lips rose slightly. Of course I'm confident, because I know that you're already panicking in your heart. Yi-Ching Luo's words fell. The sneer on Huang Wuyo's face froze. Then he stared at Yi-Ching Luo for a long time and suddenly burst out laughing. This seat is flustered? Ha ha ha. This is the funniest joke that I've heard in 10,000 years. His gaze was sharp as he stared coldly at Yi-Ching Luo, his eyes filled with ridicule, even back then. When this seat and Gu crossed hands, this seat had never felt flustered at all. Just based on you. This seat's daughter, you can make this seat flustered? Yi-Ching Luo didn't have the slightest trace of embarrassment on her face. She just quietly looked at Huang Wuyo. It was as if he was looking at a person who was trying to argue and cause trouble for no reason expressionlessly. It was so calm and indifferent. Huang Wuyo's body, which was entangled in the raging flames, tensed up at this moment. That face which was laughing maniacally was also tensed up terribly. Seeing him keeping quiet, the young lady's pink lips rose again, as she smiled faintly. Huang Wuyo, you're right, I'm your daughter. When she mentioned the word daughter, her tone was calm, as though it couldn't stir up any ripples. That was a kind of indifferent attitude towards this identity, this title. Chapter 52-43. The calmer she was, the more indifferent she was. This meant that this title had no weight in her heart at all. Huang Wuyo frowned slightly as an indescribable sense of irritation arose. Compared to the discomfort of being entangled by the raging flames and the intense pain in his body, it made him even more irritable. He hadn't even opened his mouth. On the other side, the young lady's clear voice rang once again. Because of this, towards you, I can be considered as understanding. Her lips curled upwards, the sweet smile on her pink lips brought with it a tinge of chilly coldness. So, I know very well that you're putting on a brave front now. As her pink lips spat out the last 4 words, Huang Wuyo's pupils shrank imperceptibly. Yi-Ching Luo slowly raised her hand. She held the feather fan between her slender, white fingers and slowly unfurled it. That feather fan was encircled with raging flames. It also seemed to have a red glow like lightning, flickering in and out. It contrasted against the young lady's fingertips, making them even more fair and translucent. Huang Wuyo, the current you. How are you going to resist? Her hand slowly pointed towards Huang Wuyo's direction. Looking at the man who was entangled by the raging flames and suspended in mid-air, the chilling intent in her eyes almost froze the surrounding air. No matter how strong you are, once the poison enters your soul, to detoxify it, you will need to spend quite a lot of time and energy. She laughed lightly, her tone was filled with ridicule. Now you're just pretending to be fine in front of me. I'm not exposing you. Because I want to see how long you can last. From the moment she saw Huang Wuyo's original body, Yiqing Luo was already completely sure. Huang Wuyo's current state was merely a forced act. No matter how much Huang Wuyo wanted to show that he wasn't affected by any poison. But the poison entering his body was definitely something that could be seen from his face. Not to mention, those poison had directly entered Huang Wuyo's soul. Yiqing Luo only took a glance at Huang Wuyo's face and was already certain. Huang Wuyo was poisoned. She was rather confident in her poison. After all, it was a poison that was specially learnt to refine in the pill refining secret manual. Even for a cultivator like Huang Wuyo. Blinked in the same way. Yiqing Luo's feather fan slowly pointed towards Huang Wuyo's face as she smiled even more radiantly. Moreover, revered Wuyu, don't forget that I am Feng Gu, the daughter of the previous god emperor, and I have the bloodline of the divine phoenix inheritance. She tilted her head and smiled brightly. So, do you think that I won't be able to mend the seal after I know what's truly sealing you? The girl's pink lips spat out word by word. Huang Wuyo's sinister face, which was filled with pride and mockery, finally began to show a subtle change. That malicious cold eyes stared intently at Yiqing Luo. Like a venomous snake's gaze, it made Yiqing Luo smile instead. Looks like, I guessed correctly. You're really smart. You're completely different from your mother, whose soul has already dissipated. Under Huang Wuyo's extreme anger, he specially targeted the thorn in Yiqing Luo's heart, stabbing it in. But, even so what? Do you think you can stop me from breaking out of the formation? Yiqing Luo's eyes suddenly turned cold as her expression turned ugly. She gripped her glower flame fan tightly as she suddenly turned around and headed towards the direction of the stone tablet. Whether I can or not, let me try and we'll know. Her figure stretched out as she once again got close to the stone tablet which was floating in flames, pressing her hand directly onto the stone tablet. Chapter 52-44. That complicated totem and lifelike phoenix desolate stone tablet was flickering with an enchanting flame, as though it was welcoming Yiqing Luo's arrival. The young lady's eyes were chilly and her eyes were filled with a frosty glint, emitting a cold and determined murderous aura. Just as she was nearing the stone tablet, the young lady's fingertip drew a line. There was a cut on the girl's white fingertip, and fresh blood oozed out. A drop, crystal clear, slid into her palm. That bright red blood contrasted against the young lady's fair skin. Following that, the young lady's palm flipped. In a blink of an eye, that drop of blood had covered her entire palm. Following that, she pressed it hard against the stone tablet. Bam! 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 A surge of strong profound yin qi surged from her back. Huang Wuyo shouted angrily, Feng Qing Luo, do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Under the blazing flame. Thick profound yin qi exploded from Huang Wuyo's body as he attacked Yiqing Luo ferociously. That momentum seemed as though it was going to swallow Yiqing Luo completely. Yiqing Luo's long and narrow eyes squinted slightly as her lips curled into a sarcastic sneer. Huang Wuyo disregarded the state of the seal as he forcefully split out his soul consciousness to deplete his energy. This also showed that he was indeed panicking. This also showed that all her guesses earlier were correct. Actually, she didn't have much confidence. After all, everything was based on her own guesses and deductions. Looked like the key to sealing Huang Wuyo was indeed on the stone tablet. However, she still had no idea how to do it. The only thing she was sure of was, this stone tablet had an extreme thirst for her blood. Especially when her hand was placed on the stone tablet. She even felt that the lifelike phoenix's blazing red pupils blinked at her gently when she fixed her eyes on it. But there was no abnormality. As though it was her misconception. Which was the moment when she was in a daze. Her hand, which was placed on the stone tablet, was suddenly clasped and forcefully pulled away from the stone tablet. Yiqing Luo wanted to retaliate. He seemed to have guessed her thoughts, and he actually took the initiative to block her attack. After that, he once again grabbed her other hand and restrained her movements. The unfamiliar yet faintly familiar aura made Yiqing Luo's brows creased slightly. She didn't struggle. She pushed against the chest that was pressing against her and raised her head. Then, he met a pair of eyes that were as black as ink and did not show much emotion. Yiqing Luo was stunned once again. Gu Jingyu? The person in front of her had a handsome and gentle face. Just by looking at him, one could feel a warm feeling that was like a gentle wind sweeping through one's body. Even if his face was expressionless and his eyes were lifeless. Even so, it was unable to conceal the gentleness and elegance emanating from his bones. In this world, apart from Gu Jingyu, who else could possess such a temperament? Why was he here? Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased tightly as she looked at that warm face which was just inches away from her, before her vision shifted on to Huang Wuyo. Gu Jingyu was Huang Wuyo's disciple. Now, he had completely turned into Huang Wuyo's chess piece, and had forgotten all his feelings. The current Gu Jingyu was just a puppet in Huang Wuyo's hands. A puppet which was used to deal with her. She had to admit. Huang Wuyo's chess move was extremely well played. Gu Jingyu and Chu Wuxin were different. Although Chu Wuxin had helped her a lot. But all his help was based on making use of her. Chapter 52-45. All of Gu Jingyu's feelings were extracted because of her. A person who had lost his feelings. How could he be considered as a real person? And the reason for all these was because of her. So when Gu Jingyu appeared in front of her, Yiqing Luo was stunned. What followed was a surge of complicated emotions. Yiqing Luo, long time no see. The man opened his mouth, his voice was calm, still that clear and moist feeling. His hand clasped her wrist so that she couldn't move at all. Yiqing Luo's eyelashes fluttered slightly, as she struggled free from his hand. What are you trying to do? Gu Jingyu allowed her to struggle free, and after the young lady took 2 steps back, he used his own body to block in front of the stone tablet, cutting off the distance between Yiqing Luo and the stone tablet. His gentle eyes, faintly congealed on Yiqing Luo, as his lips curled slightly, as his tone carried a hint of indifference. My motive here, isn't it obvious? You want to stop me. Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes. The previous you was not my opponent, do you think? You can stop me now? The more Gu Jingyu tried to stop her. And the more he understood a problem. This stone tablet, and her god emperor descendant's blood, was the key to sealing Huang Wuyo. My dear daughter. Then do you think, after his ability is not as good as yours, this seat will not undergo other transformations? That man who was entangled in the raging flames, laughed sinisterly. Huang Wuyo's body was surrounded by a thick profound yin qi. That face, under the contrast of one black and one red, looked extremely terrifying and sinister. Between his brows, there was a thick black qi. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly. She was stunned by Huang Wuyo's look. She was also disgusted by Huang Wuyo's words, my dear daughter, as she had goosebumps all over. She pursed her lips tightly, as she remained silent for a while. Transformation? What do you treat him as? He actually used the word transformation on a person. Gu Jingyu had been transformed by him, wasn't it enough? The current Gu Jingyu only had Gu Jingyu's memories, but completely without any feelings, a puppet who only knew how to follow Huang Wuyo's memories. He had already turned into this state. Huang Wuyo was still modifying him. Did they really treat humans as machines? Yiqing Luo had always thought. Based on Huang Guiyou's personality, he would definitely take Gu Jingyu's life after Gu Jingyu had helped him time and time again, causing his plans to fail. But Huang Guiyou has no cherry. Gu Jingyu was still alive and well. Yiqing Luo thought that he was after all a disciple whom he had nurtured wholeheartedly, so he should have some feelings for him, which was why he was so tolerant towards Gu Jingyu. But Huang Guiyou had extracted all of Gu Jingyu's emotions, leaving behind only his loyalty to him and his mind, filled with memories that belonged to Gu Jingyu, but he could no longer touch Gu Jingyu's memories. To do such a thing. Did she really have feelings for Gu Jingyu? Did Huang Guiyou really just want to make use of her guilt towards Gu Jingyu to make Gu Jingyu stop her? Was it that simple? My precious daughter, the key to unlocking the seal lies with you. Huang Guiyou laughed coldly again. That laughter was mixed with some sort of emotion. Did you think that you only have the use of restoring the seal? He laughed sinisterly. I was still thinking about how to get you to help me break the seal, but I didn't expect you to send yourself to my doorstep. Yiqing Luo's vision shifted towards Huang Guiyou. The profound yin qi on his face and body, as well as the surrounding flames, became more and more intense. Chapter 52-46. As though they were contending against each other. Yiqing Luo's expression sunk as her long and narrow eyes narrowed as she pondered over Huang Guiyou's words. She was the key to unlocking the seal. What did this sentence mean? Her appearance. Didn't it make Huang Guiyou flustered? Why did it suddenly become? She was the key to unlocking the seal. Yiqing Luo's gaze swept back and forth between Huang Guiyou and Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu suddenly stretched out his hand towards her as his fingers turned into sharp claws as he attacked towards her heart. His palm was encircled with thick profound yin qi, like a sharp blade, as though it was going to pierce through Yiqing Luo's heart. Yiqing Luo's reaction was agile as she swiftly retreated backwards, narrowly avoiding Gu Jingyu's attack. Following that, she turned sideways and distanced herself from Gu Jingyu. She lowered her eyes as she looked at her chest. There was a cut on her peach-red robe as a few pieces of cloth floated down. She raised her hand and pressed against her chest as she suddenly understood the meaning behind Huang Guiyou's words. Huang Guiyou's target was her profound jade heart. Huang Guiyou wanted her profound jade heart to undo his seal. Yiqing Luo's brows creased even tighter. Huang Guiyou was flustered previously. It was because she had discovered a way to strengthen the seal. And he was unable to stop her. But now, he had a capable helper like Gu Jingyu. Not only could he stop Yiqing Luo, he could also help him to obtain her profound jade heart. It was a good idea. Huang Guiyou had no intention to hide as he saw Yiqing Luo evading Gu Jingyu's attack. He laughed sinisterly. Your profound jade heart is the most perfect work of mine and Gu. I have spent a lot of effort for this profound jade heart of yours. 10,000 years ago, this piece of divine phoenix profound jade should have belonged to me. Now, you have nurtured this profound jade heart for so long, it's time to return it to me. His voice was sinister and treacherous, with a hint of insane greed. Mentioning Feng Gu. Yiqing Luo's long and narrow eyes surfaced a trace of viciousness. She had seen that memory from 10,000 years ago in the barbaric Blood-Bone King's memory. Naturally it was clear. Huang Guiyou touched the profound heart jade in her body. How he had hurt Feng Gu and deceived the barbaric Blood-Bone King. At every moment, he was thinking about how to dig out her profound heart jade. Such a person was not fit to be a father. Yiqing Luo's palm pressed against her own heart, her dark pupils were fixated on Huang Guiyou without blinking, her words were icy cold. My things belong to me. What has it got to do with you? Still? Did he deserve to use that word? Huang Guiyou sneered coldly. As he laughed, his face suddenly turned pale and his entire body tensed up. It was as if he was tightly entangled by the raging flames. Or perhaps the poison in his body was starting to surge again. However, he still tightened his voice and gnashed his teeth as he said, Gu Jingyu, dig out her profound heart jade. Gu Jingyu's emotionless eyes fell lightly onto Yiqing Luo's heart. His face was still as gentle as jade. However, the expression on his face and the emotions in his eyes were as cold as dead water. After that, he directly attacked Yiqing Luo. His attacks were ruthless, without any intention of showing mercy. He directly attacked her heart. Yiqing Luo's glower flame fan opened up, blocking Gu Jingyu's attack. My dear daughter, you only have two choices now. Even though Huang Wuyo was in pain, even though he was entangled by the raging flames, it had defeated his resistance. He still forced himself to smile. Chapter 52-47. That laughter was so eerie that it made one's hair stand on end. His malicious eyes were fixated on Yiqing Luo as his words were filled with malice, either you kill him. After that, he paused as his smile became even more eerie, or he dig out your profound jade heart. Huang Wuyo was very clear about Yiqing Luo's current thoughts. Based on Yiqing Luo's character, these two choices. Both were unacceptable to Yiqing Luo. But unfortunately, he wanted her to accept such a choice now. He wanted to destroy Yiqing Luo's self-righteous goodness. He wanted to dye Yiqing Luo black. He wanted Yiqing Luo to become like him, a person in the dark. Her own death, or to let a puppet who stood in opposition to her, and had completely forgotten his feelings die? Huang Wuyo's eyes were filled with a hint of madness. Every man for himself, my darling daughter. He's just a killing tool without any feelings now, can't you do it? Yiqing Luo held her glower flame fan horizontally, blocking Gu Jingyu's fierce attack. Every move was directed towards her heart. That pair of dark eyes, without any light, was a void of spirit. If she continued to hide like this, after a long time, she would be the one to suffer. She took a step back, once again avoiding Gu Jingyu. She looked at Yiqing Luo and sneered, "Are you sure, you want me to kill him?" Her fingers gripped the glower flame fan tightly. Her bright glass-like pupils, at this moment, seemed to be shrouded in a trace of haze, making one unable to see the emotions within. The young girl's dark red lips curled up slightly as she spat out a few words with a hint of mockery. If I kill him, no one will be able to stop me from sealing you completely, or making you completely disappear from this world. If I can seal you, using his life to exchange, is not impossible. Just like what you said, the current Gu Jingyu is just an empty shell without feelings, I believe. He is not willing to be like this, living like a walking corpse. The young lady's indifferent tone said indifferently. There wasn't much emotion in her voice. But it made Huang Wuyo stop laughing. Huang Wuyo frowned slightly, as if he could not believe that the young girl would say such a thing. He also couldn't believe that the young girl could still analyze things calmly like zits at this time. Their eyes met. One pretended to be cold and emotionless to hide the turbulent emotions in his heart. One's heart was in turmoil, and he was full of guesses. No one noticed, after hearing the young girl's words, the puppet, with a face as gentle as jade and eyes without the slightest hint of emotion. Little by little, the pair of hollow and dim eyes flashed with a faint, eerie light. It was fleeting. Amidst this silent atmosphere, suddenly, the sound of countless chaotic footsteps approached quickly. The first to enter was Zhu Wu Xian, who was supported by Huan Luo. The man, who had always been calm and indifferent, was now leaning on Huan Luo in a sorry state. His face was pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. His breathing was obviously heavy. The man's cold eyes sized up Yiqing Luo from top to bottom when he saw her. He confirmed that the girl was not injured. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief. When she saw him, Yiqing Luo frowned. "Zhu Wu Xian, what are you following me for?" This place was where Huang Wuyo was sealed. It was filled with danger. Based on Zhu Wu Xian's current condition, even if he was to stand here, it would be extremely strenuous. Chapter 52-48. Isn't the reason why young patriarch came here because of you? Huan Luo originally held a grudge against Yiqing Luo, and now that she heard Yiqing Luo's obviously unhappy words, she couldn't control her emotions. For her, young patriarch disregarded his own health and rushed over forcefully, but met with such treatment from Yiqing Luo. What right did Yiqing Luo have? It was merely because of young patriarch's fondness. When Yiqing Luo heard that, her slender brows creased even tighter. She ignored Huan Luo as she looked towards Zhu Wu Xian, and her voice sounded a little disapproving. Zhu Wu Xian, you know very well what kind of condition your body is in. What can you do to help me by forcing yourself to come in? Yiqing Luo's words were impolite. Although her tone was calm, and there wasn't any intention to go against him. But in Huan Luo's ears, it was Yiqing Luo's disdain towards her young patriarch. She was just short of understanding that her young patriarch was a burden. Thinking of young patriarch dragging his dispirited body and rushing over to this dangerous place, just because he was worried about Feng Qing Luo. Huan Luo instantly felt that it wasn't worth it. The anger in her heart rose to the peak at this moment. Why did young patriarch become like this? Isn't it all because of you? If it wasn't for you who poisoned young patriarch, how could young patriarch possibly be so weak? Huan Luo stood in front of Zhu Wu Xian, blocking Yiqing Luo's slightly squinted, seemingly displeased gaze. Her face was cold as she continued speaking sternly. Even though young patriarch's body is so weak, because he was worried about you, he forcefully endured the discomfort of his body and came in to ensure your safety. It's fine if you don't know how to be grateful, but why do you have to say such words to hurt young patriarch? Huan Luo. Zhu Wu Xian's voice was slightly hoarse as he berated her sternly. Huan Luo bit her lower lip tightly as she had no intention to move. These words, if not for me, young patriarch is filled with emotions. Big Sister Feng, Great Divine Phoenix would definitely not know about it. Or perhaps you're pretending not to know. She intentionally emphasized on the terms Big Sister Feng, Great Divine Phoenix, in a mocking tone. Young patriarch isn't good at using words to express his inner feelings. He's not good at expressing himself, so even if he did so many things, you still can't see it. Huan Luo clenched her fists tightly as she straightened her body, as though she was bearing an immense pressure. Let her suffer. But at the same time, he stubbornly wanted to vent his anger. Yiqing Luo, do you even have a heart? Do they have eyes? Can't you see what young master has done for you? Yiqing Luo kept silent. It was only after Huan Luo had finished shouting hysterically that she slowly fixed her gaze on Huan Luo. Her eyes were calm, and not much emotion could be seen from them. That pair of long and narrow eyes rippled with a quiet and serene light. Just by meeting her gaze, one would feel an indescribable sense of fear. First, Yiqing Luo's pink lips moved slightly. Her voice was also very indifferent. He was poisoned because his skills were not up to par, so he only has himself to blame. The first person to poison was Zhu Wuxin. He failed to poison her and was poisoned by her instead. How could he blame her? Didn't she just stand there obediently and let him poison her? She was not a fool. As for the fact that Zhu Wuxin would be poisoned, she did not regret it. Don't say that it wasn't the right time for her to poison him. Remember one thing, the first person to make a move was Zhu Wuxin. Whereas she was merely giving him a taste of his own medicine. Yiqing Luo's long and narrow eyes rose slightly as she opened her mouth once again. Second. Chapter 52-49. Knowing that your body isn't feeling well, but you insist on coming to this kind of place where you might die if you lose focus. This isn't called being wholehearted for me. This is called being silly. Within the forbidden array was Huang Guio's sealed grounds. Danger lurked everywhere. Even if Zhu Wu Xian wasn't poisoned, just standing in this place would cause him to be corroded by the profound yin qi and the raging flames which came from the power of the divine phoenix which sealed Huang Guio. Moreover, it was him who had no battle power at all. Even if it was because he was worried about her. He shouldn't treat his own life as a joke. This kind of worry wouldn't make her feel touched. Instead it made her feel very burdened. Worry and concern could be used. But it also depended on the situation. Thirdly, Yiqing Luo's gaze slowly fell onto Zhu Wu Xian. She was replying to Huan Luo and also telling him solemnly. As for why I can't see young Lord Chu's efforts, that's because, in my eyes, he has never existed. The young lady's pink lips opened and closed, spitting out words which made one feel sharp. Because I don't love him, so I don't give him any response. This is my responsibility towards myself and also towards him. Rather than giving him a groundless expectation, why not cut off his thoughts right from the start? But I've underestimated young Lord Chu's obsession. She lifted her eyes and sighed faintly. I'm very sorry about not being able to respond to his feelings. But this is not an excuse for you to use to accuse me. Huan Luo's expression was tense as she stretched out her finger and pointed at Yiqing Luo, her eyes filled with frost. But after some time, she didn't manage to retort. In the end, she clenched her teeth tightly and lowered her gaze. She supported Zhu Wu Xian and her tone was filled with anger. Young lord, you heard that right. This kind of woman, what's there for you to like? Heart of stone, not knowing how to be grateful. Shut up. Zhu Wu Xian's face turned pale as he struggled to break free from Huan Luo's support. This action made his breathing even heavier. He lost all his strength as he fell onto the ground. Even though he was in such a sorry state. But his stern and cold aura made him look extremely cold and arrogant. His eyes were sharp and cold as he looked at Huan Luo coldly. Since when did you have the right to interfere in my matters? Huan Luo was violently flung by him and staggered a step back. Her eyes were filled with disbelief as she looked at Zhu Wuxin. Young master, everything she said was for his sake. In order to let Feng Qing Luo know what he had done. What did she do wrong? Take her away. Zhu Wuxin's eyes turned cold as he looked at the group of people from the illusion clan behind him. His tone was icy and contained a faint killing intent. Huan Luo's body swayed slightly, as if she did not dare to believe Zhu Wu Xian's words. The people from the illusion tribe hesitated for a moment before pulling Huan Luo to their side. Yiqing Luo didn't say a word as she silently looked at these illusory clansmen who were flocking over. Actually, this was the difference between love and not love. Zhu Wuxin loved her, so he was so obsessed with her that even though she had rejected him several times, he still couldn't get rid of his obsession with her. Huan Luo loved him, so she wholeheartedly stood on his side, feeling angry for him. It wasn't worth it. But she didn't love Zhu Wuxin, so towards Zhu Wu Xian's efforts, other than gratitude, or difficulty, or perplexity, she had no other emotions. To the extent that when Zhu Wu Xian refused to listen to her rejection, she pestered him several times. Seventh Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. Seventh Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 5250. At that time, she was only left with trouble. Just like how Zhu Wu Xian didn't love Huan Luo, so when Huan Luo showed concern and felt unfair for him, his heart wasn't moved at all, and instead he was filled with murderous intent. In love, there was no right or wrong. There was only love and not love. You all really don't put this seed in your eyes. A sinister voice was heard from the side. Huang Guio's twisted and horrifying face was filled with pain. Under the coquettish flames, it became more and more terrifying. His sinister and sharp gaze shifted towards Gu Jingyu, as he sternly gave an order. Gu Jingyu, what are you still in a daze for? Do it, kill all of them, and dig out my precious daughter's profound heart jade. And offer it to me. As he opened his mouth to speak, the profound yin qi which had been swallowed by the raging flames started to slowly spread out again. The profound yin qi gradually thickened. The expression on Huang Guio's face became more and more painful and sinister. As though he was suffering from an extreme pain. Yiqing Luo knew that Huang Guio's current situation was totally fighting against the poison in his body, and even the deepest part of his soul. What made Yiqing Luo astonished was Huang Guio could actually endure so much. Enduring till now, he still had extra energy to spend on her. But after Huang Guio gave the order, that puppet like Gu Jingyu didn't attack at the first instance. He stood there in a daze, lowering his head, as though he was thinking about something. Thinking? Yiqing Luo went into a slight blank. How would a puppet know how to think? But the current Gu Jingyu, indeed, looked like he was in a state of thinking. Moreover, he didn't act immediately after hearing Huang Wuyo's order like before. She congealed for a moment, as her long and narrow eyes squinted, as she sized up Gu Jingyu uncertainly. Could it be? Just as Yiqing Luo had some thoughts, as it flashed past her mind. Huang Wuyo's sharp voice exploded once again. Gu Jingyu, kill. That man who had lowered his head suddenly raised his head. His face, which was as gentle as jade, was devoid of any emotion. A cold glint faintly flashed across those seemingly clear yet emotionless eyes of hers. Fleeting. It was so fast that Yiqing Luo felt that she had seen an illusion. In the next instant, the man who had been standing still made his move. Yiqing Luo couldn't think of anything else. He doesn't have any thoughts. Protect your young master, don't bother about me. She didn't know if it was because of her voice. After Gu Jingyu moved, his speed was extremely fast as he directly attacked in Zhu Wuxin's direction. He didn't even glance at Yiqing Luo from the corner of his eyes. Yiqing Luo only hesitated for a moment and speedily made a decision as she headed towards the direction of that stone tablet, closing in once again. The illusion race had arrived just in time. And Gu Jingyu's target was placed on them, which was just right. She took the opportunity to study the stone tablet. It would be best if she could strengthen Huang Wuyo's seal. Darling daughter. Don't belittle your father. Huang Wuyo saw through Yiqing Luo's intention with one look as he sneered sinisterly. Following his sinister smile, cold and gloomy mysterious yin qi surged over. Yiqing Luo's peripheral vision was shrouded by a patch of dense black yin qi. She immediately retreated, distancing herself from the stone tablet. The dense mysterious yin qi instantly covered the surface of the stone tablet. At the same time, a black figure gradually revealed itself from within the mysterious yin qi. His black robe fluttered, as though black smoke was floating. Trash 7th young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Trash 7th young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-51. That was a figure condensed from the profound yin qi. That revealed face. It was Huang Wuyo. After Yiqing Luo avoided the stone tablet, she raised her eyes to take a look at that figure and immediately looked at the sealed Huang Wuyo. Under the entanglement of the raging flames, Huang Wuyo's face looked even more terrifying and bloodless. He obviously had such a gentle face, but it was malevolent and sinister. When he met Yiqing Luo's gaze, that pair of treacherous dark eyes started to emit a deep and gloomy coldness. He grinned and laughed sinisterly. Yiqing Luo frowned tightly. Don't think that Huang Wuyo looked very complacent and safe and sound. But Yiqing Luo was certain. He was just forcing himself to be brave. He was poisoned and corroded by the seal. He had already used up all his energy. Now, he even used his mental power to condense a doppelganger. No matter how strong Huang Wuyo was, or how strong his mental power was, right now, his body and mind must be completely empty. From the state of this doppelganger Huang Wuyo, she could tell that he was already straining himself. Previously the doppelganger Huang Wuyo had formed. It was an independent existence. It possessed an independent body and could move freely. But the doppelganger Huang Wuyo now, it was condensed from the profound yin qi. Its body was shrouded in the hazy profound yin qi and was unable to form. Yiqing Luo's long and narrow eyes narrowed dangerously as a sharp glint flashed in her eyes. If taking advantage of this moment to defeat Huang Wuyo's doppelganger, it would definitely cause him a heavy injury. By then, while Huang Wuyo had no way to resist, she would completely seal him. She would definitely succeed. That lad can't be relied on, this seat will personally take your profound heart, Jade. The doppelganger laughed sinisterly, that malevolent face was filled with greed. His gaze was like a venomous snake, staring straight at Yiqing Luo's heart. The profound yin qi encircled his body as it revolved crazily. The divine phoenix profound heart jade that has been nurtured by you for so long must be the best nourishment. With this profound heart jade of yours, it will definitely give me endless power. It will allow me to directly break through this damned seal and break out of this cocoon. Huang Wuyo's impassioned voice rang out. The doppelganger grinned sinisterly. Under the burning of the enchanting flames, it seemed extremely cold. It was a chilling scene. The dense black mysterious yin qi surged like waves and lingered around the doppelganger's body, causing the doppelganger to emit a piercingly cold and terrifying aura. It looked like a black dragon. It could open its bloody mouth and swallow her at any time. Yiqing Luo had long been filled with vigilance towards the doppelganger. When the doppelganger moved, he had already made the most direct response. She stomped her feet on the ground, and the peach blossom black-haired girl instantly bounced up like a spring. The glowing flame fan in his hands also quickly turned into countless sharp blades that were condensed from strong profound energy, forming wave after wave of surging waves in midair, perfectly and accurately evading the doppelganger's attack and retaliating. Two bursts of energy clashed against each other in the sealed space of the raging flames, giving off a loud crackling sound. After this exchange, Yiqing Luo was almost certain. This doppelganger's power was much weaker than the two doppelgangers she had seen previously. Moreover, this doppelganger needed profound yin qi to be formed. Chapter 52-52. And in this place which was sealed by the divine phoenix's power, it was completely targeted at the profound yin qi. It was imaginable that when Huang Wuyo released the profound yin qi, not only did he have to break down his spirit and condense his clone, he also had to bear the corrosion of the seal's power. Naturally, his ability was much weaker. When Yiqing Luo crossed hands with those doppelgangers previously, it was extremely strenuous. But now, not only did she not feel strenuous, she even felt that she could easily avoid the doppelgangers and counter them. As long as she took the opportunity to annihilate them, she would be able to cause Huang Wuyo's original body to suffer a heavy injury. Yiqing Luo's long and narrow eyes narrowed. The glower flame fan on her fingertips spun faster and faster. Like a ring of fire, it formed between her fingers. The blazing red glow lingered around the glower flame fan under the sky of raging flames. As the young lady moved, the profound aura became thicker and more majestic. Following that, she attacked the direction of the doppelgangers directly. Her movements were swift. In a blink of an eye, she had already closed in on the doppelgangers. The aura from both sides was getting colder and colder. But just as she closed in on the doppelgangers, Yiqing Luo's expression suddenly changed. She frowned as she stared at the doppelgangers in front of her, her heart thumped suddenly. No. Something was wrong. At this critical juncture, Huang Wuyo should be trying his best to stop her, in case she had the chance to destroy the stone tablet and seal him completely. How could it be possible to condense such a weak doppelganger? Wasn't this obviously sending her to die? So, what was Huang Wuyo trying to sell in his gourd? What on earth was he trying to do, to actually expend his own mental energy to make such a meaningless struggle? The moment Yiqing Luo understood, she immediately retracted her hand and wanted to turn back. But, oh! That thick black profound yin qi suddenly formed two huge black hands, grabbing onto Yiqing Luo's shoulders. That icy cold touch made Yiqing Luo couldn't help but shiver. A strong pulling force fiercely dragged her into the mysterious yin qi. At the same time Yiqing Luo's body hid into the profound yin qi, a fierce profound aura fluctuation surged beside her ears, as though it was about to explode beside her ears. Yiqing Luo wanted to move, but the hand on her shoulder held her down so tightly that she had no chance to move at all. Yiqing Luo swiftly surveyed the surroundings. The dense profound yin qi sealed off all the auras around her. He could even vaguely sense a sharp cold light. Ha ha ha. Feng Qing Luo, you've ultimately lost because of your conceit. Huang Guio's sinister voice seemed to be floating around her ears. He's smiling. His laughter was filled with pain, but it was also filled with joy from the bottom of his heart. It was a smile of success. Yiqing Luo didn't struggle as she tensed up and tried to sense Huang Guio's position. Don't even think of struggling. Following Huang Guio's laughter, Yiqing Luo could feel the strength on her shoulder increasing, just obediently become a part of the seat's body. My darling daughter, I let you be born into this world. Now, it is time for you to repay me. In the thick mysterious yin qi. Yiqing Luo felt the pulling force on her shoulder, as it grew stronger. Pulling her towards a certain direction, bit by bit. Yiqing Luo could even feel. An icy cold touch was penetrating her chest, slowly touching her skin. It seemed like to pierce into her heart and dig out her profound jade heart. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash, Overlord, please be gentle with your love, everyone please collect it. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash, Overlord, please be gentle with your love, hit me. Chapter 52-53. Motherf **********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************2 Schemed against her. Yiqing Luo's eyes turned cold as she glanced at the Azure Dew bracelet. Product equals book/web. Following that, the Azure Dew bracelet abruptly burst into a stream of raging flames as it encircled Yiqing Luo. The profound yin qi that directly invaded her heart in an attempt to dig out her profound heart jade was instantly blocked outside. The raging flames turned into clear and crystalline waves of light. With a boom, a vast energy was released from Yiqing Luo's body. The profound yin qi that enveloped her was also frantically tearing at it, as though it was contending against Yiqing Luo's energy. Yiqing Luo could feel that the two palm-like profound yin qi that clamped down on her body was gradually increasing in strength. It conveyed a sense of urgency. Under that thick darkness, Huang Guio's clone's face had almost fused with the profound yin qi. It was faintly discernible, crooked and extremely terrifying. Lass, you can't go against him anymore. Suddenly, a familiar voice rang in her mind. Yiqing Luo had yet to call out Old Man Song's name. She heard Old Man Song's solemn tone, as though he had made a decision. This place is a seal formed by the divine phoenix's energy, used to seal the extremely dangerous and evil energy of revered Wuyu. You are the inheritor of the divine phoenix's inheritance. The seal here has no effect on you. But revered Wuyu is obviously aware of this point. Everything he is doing now, although it looks like he intends to stop you and dig out your profound heart jade. But in reality, he intends to pour his own profound yin qi, this kind of evil energy, into your body. Listening to Old Man Song's words, Yiqing Luo's expression congealed once again. Her slender brows knitted slightly as she pondered over Old Man Song's words. She knew that she had been schemed against by Huang Guio. She originally thought that she had been schemed against by Huang Guio to control her. She didn't expect, all of this was just the surface of Huang Guio's scheme. And the real hidden motive was so vicious. No wonder, when the clone and the profound yin qi fused. The profound yin qi kept surging into her body. She thought it was to dig out the profound heart jade. Unexpectedly, Yiqing Luo's long and narrow eyes narrowed dangerously, reflecting a sharp cold glint. This Huang Guio wanted her to be contaminated by the mysterious yin qi and be corroded by the seal. What a good idea. You're not the only one fighting here. Revered Sir Wireless has stayed in this sealed land for tens of thousands of years. Even with the power of the divine phoenix suppressing him, he's still revered Sir Wireless after all. He's an existence that's comparable to the Emperor of the Divine Emperor. The fact that he could create a clone, establish the Palace of Tenebrous Darkness, and control all the realms while being sealed was enough to prove that he was getting stronger and stronger. The longer these people stayed in this sealed area, the more they would be eroded by the mysterious yin qi here. At that time, this seal will treat it as an evil force, and purify it. Old Man Song spoke very quickly, but each and every word was clearly transmitted into Yiqing Luo's ears. You can drag it out, but they can't. Old Man Song was very clear that although Yiqing Luo wasn't a saint, but she wouldn't go so far as to watch innocent lives disappear in front of her eyes and remain indifferent. Especially when these people could be considered as having a little bit of relationship with her. It was even more impossible for her to watch them die. Yiqing Luo's heart thumped slightly when she heard Old Man Sung's words. When she opened her mouth, her voice sounded extremely hoarse. Then, your meaning is... Chapter 52-54. Old Man Sung was silent for a moment. Yiqing Luo could feel the surging scorching sensation on her wrist. She pursed her lips tightly as her heart sank. Old Man Sung, you know my temper. You know that I will not allow you to make decisions on your own. She understood Old Man Sung. Just like how Old Man Sung understood her. From Old Man Sung's silence, Yiqing Luo had already heard something that she didn't dare to think about. Luo lass. Old Man Sung's deep voice floated in Yiqing Luo's mind. That low and deep voice had a hint of gratification in it. This old man knows that the current you is already a divine phoenix emperor who can take charge of a region by yourself. Even without me by your side, I believe that you can become a better and more admirable divine phoenix than your mother. Old Man Sung. Yiqing Luo's pupils constricted and her exquisite face turned pale. Don't mess around. Ever since I came to this strange world, you've always been by my side. We've already experienced so much and come this far. If you're not with me, what's the point of me being a divine phoenix? Silly girl, don't say that. Old Man Sung laughed lowly as his tone was filled with the pampering of an elder. Do you know why I became the Azure Dew Bracelet's guardian spirit? Yiqing Luo didn't answer. Old Man Sung continued, because guardian spirit means to protect. Divine Phoenix Emperor Feng Gu passed the Azure Dew Bracelet to you in order for me to protect you, inherit the position of Divine Phoenix and complete her last wish. The meaning of my existence is to protect you. I have no regrets to be able to protect you until now. Every single word and sentence was like a confession to Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo's heart felt like it was tightly gripped by an icy cold palm. Her heart was in pain and there was a kind of extreme coldness that attacked her entire body. No. I don't want it. Yiqing Luo's petite body started to tremble slightly. Under the dense profound yin qi, that young lady dressed in a peach blossom long dress slowly moved her hand which was unable to move, pressing on her own arm. She didn't care at all as the profound yin qi had already wrapped around her. Their attention was focused on the Azure Dew Bracelet. Her slender, jade-like fingers lightly touched the glittering cherry blossom petals of the Azure Dew Bracelet. Old Man Sung, I won't allow you to make a decision on your own. You'd better get rid of your current thoughts. It's too late, lass. Little by little, Old Man Sung's spirit body swayed out of the Azure Dew Bracelet. That illusory spiritual body was extremely eye-catching under the dense black yin qi. You must use your oppressive power to mend the Divine Phoenix seal as soon as possible, or kill revered Carefree. As Old Man Sung's words fell into Yiqing Luo's ears. Little by little, Old Man Sung's illusory spirit body transformed into a bewitching flowing light that was like a blazing flame as it encircled Yiqing Luo's wrist. Actually, I'm not leaving. I'm just using a different method to protect you. The last 3 words. Faintly discernible. Yiqing Luo almost thought that she was hallucinating. Her pupils continued to dilate and contract. He couldn't help but blurt out, Old Man Sung. It was no longer an exchange of thoughts. But he had actually shouted out his name. But no one responded to her. That white, green smoke-like spiritual body instantly disappeared in front of Yiqing Luo's eyes. At the same time. Chapter 52-55. Yiqing Luo felt her wrist burning as though it was on fire. The next moment, boundless profound energy gushed into her limbs and bones. Boom, there was a sudden buzzing sound in her mind. What is this? The people from the Illusion clan were blocking Gu Jingyu's killer move towards Zhu Wu Xian. All of a sudden, the group of them was thrown to the ground by a vast force. Such a terrifying energy appeared. Both parties immediately stopped fighting. One by one, they looked towards the direction where the energy came from. They saw that not far ahead, the thick black profound Qi was intertwining with the sky full of raging flames. No. That raging flame was different from the raging flame seal which they saw when they first entered the sealed grounds. That was a kind of extreme red. Like a phoenix spreading its wings to soar into the sky. With an overwhelming momentum, it broke through the profound Qi. Zhu Wu Xian leaned against the wall as his cold eyes stared fixedly at that figure which was wrapped in raging flames. His thin, crimson lips were slightly pursed. Finally, it turned into a soft sigh. The energy has completely awakened. Fate is ultimately unable to be changed. But now, no one heard Zhu Wu Xian's soft sigh. Wu, a painful moan was heard from not too far away. Huang Wuyo, whose 4 limbs were bound by the raging flames, bounced backwards heavily and was caught back by the raging flames. Huang Wuyo's face was ghastly pale as blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. The surging profound Qi in the surroundings had obviously weakened by quite a bit. His eyes were filled with disbelief as he stared at Yiqing Luo's direction. His eyes were filled with anger. Feng Ge, that rascal. He actually left such a sharp weapon for Feng Qing Luo. Even in death, he was still scheming against him. Huang Wuyo could feel that the energy on his body was dissipating continuously. The profound Qi which encircled his body, forming a protective shield, was also dispersing bit by bit under the purification of the raging flames. His face was livid and dark, extremely ugly. He knew that Yiqing Luo had quite a number of protective talismans on her. And he was very clear that Yiqing Luo had a trump card on her. And it was because of that trump card which made him stumble over Yiqing Luo time and time again. What he didn't expect was that trump card was actually the Azure Dew bracelet on Yiqing Luo's wrist, which was refined from Feng Ji's soul. Yes. This was a soul-forged Azure Dew bracelet. This was an Azure Dew bracelet that was forged by consuming one's own cultivation and using one's soul as the core. It didn't just contain Feng Ji's power. There was even a hidden power that made people tremble in fear at the mention of it. He had also heard about Feng Ge forging the Azure Dew bracelets and the Azure Dew divine artifact. Back then, when he was with Feng Ge, he had thought of looking for an opportunity to find the Azure Dew bracelet and the Azure Dew 5-piece set. He had seen the Azure Water 5-piece set many times. But he had never seen the Azure Dew bracelet before. He had not expected that Feng Ge would pass the Azure Dew bracelet into Yiqing Luo's hands. No wonder he couldn't find any traces of Yiqing Luo back then. So when Feng Ge sent Yiqing Luo into the 21st century realm, he used the Azure Dew bracelet to obstruct his search. Or perhaps, the existence of the Azure Dew bracelet was precisely because of Yiqing Luo. When the power of the Azure Dew bracelet and its master combined into one, that was when its power was at its strongest. Just like Yiqing Luo right now. Of course, no matter how Huang Wuyo thought about it, he wouldn't be able to understand the activation of the Azure Dew bracelet's power. It was because of Old Man Song's self-sacrifice. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash, Overlord, please be gentler and collect it. 7th Miss Who Likes Trash, Overlord, please be gentler and hit me. Chapter 52-56. And it was because of Old Man Song's sacrifice. This caused Yiqing Luo's emotions to be totally out of control. Originally, because she inherited the God Emperor's inheritance, the profound qi in her body was suppressed. At this moment, it was like water bursting out from a dam, spreading wave after wave throughout Yiqing Luo's limbs and bones. Yiqing Luo's energy exploded at this moment. Her power was unfathomable and shocking. But the drawback was Yiqing Luo's body couldn't take such a load. Her energy was completely in a messy state in her body. But at this moment, no one could stop Yiqing Luo from going berserk. You fall into a deep sleep forever. A coquettish flame, like the cry of a phoenix, shot up into the sky. With a loud bang, the profound yin qi surrounding Yiqing Luo's body was completely blown away. Powerful energy surged around Yiqing Luo's body. Under that raging flame, young Lady Peach Blossom's figure was flickering, like a sharp cold ray, like a 1,000-year-old frost, piercing through everyone's eyes. She held the glower flame fan in one hand, slowly pointing it at Huang Wuyo. That glower flame fan carried a piercingly cold and majestic profound energy, surging like a wave. Bam! There was no hesitation or pause at all. Under the coquettish and glaring profound chi, the glower flame fan on the young lady's fingertips was like a poisonous snake swaying, outlining a flaming tail. My precious daughter, do you think this level can hurt me? Huang Wuyo's eyes widened, bloodshot red. His face was sinister as he shouted angrily. Under the entanglement of the God Emperor's seal, countless profound yin chi was released. The moment the two terrifying forces collided in mid-air, a terrifying aura burst forth. As if one could vaguely hear that not far away. There was a faint cracking sound coming from the huge stone tablet. When the two energies collided, Huang Wuyo's heart felt like it was being torn apart. His entire body seemed to be bound by a huge force, as if it wanted to devour his everything. For thousands of years, even when he was facing Feng Gu, he had never felt such a pressing feeling. And now, facing Yiqing Luo, the daughter who he had always treated as the divine phoenix profound jade heart's vessel, the prophesied tool to obtain the world. It actually made him, for the first time in his life, feel a sense of oppression. He couldn't wait any longer. He had no more time. Never mind, as long as he could break this damned seal and regain his freedom. Even if he hadn't recovered his full strength. He had the absolute confidence to make Yiqing Luo completely become a puppet that was controlled by him. A trace of ruthlessness flashed across Huang Wuyo's eyes at the thought of this. Yiqing Luo didn't stop after that strike as she launched another attack. The profound radiance that resembled a phoenix spreading its wings contained terrifying killing intent that interweaved into a sharp blade that could take away a person's life. Her stance, it was clear that he wanted to kill him by force. This time, Huang Wuyo had no intention of dodging. But when Yiqing Luo went up to meet him, the mysterious yin chi that enveloped his body suddenly turned into strands of black threads that merged with the raging flames. Dense streams of light interweaved with the raging flames. Without the protection of the mysterious yin chi, Huang Wuyo let out a groan. That sinister and twisted face twisted into a ball due to the pain, and his entire body began to curl up slightly. He didn't have the mysterious yin chi as a shield. He was thoroughly enjoying the pain of being entangled by the God Emperor's seal. However, under the extreme pain, the corners of Huang Wuyo's mouth slowly curled up into a smile. That smile was so strange that it made one's heart turn cold. Chapter 52-57. Yiqing Luo frowned slightly. Did Huang Wuyo still have any tricks up his sleeves? Her long and narrow eyes narrowed as her fingertips lightly tapped the air. The power of the glowing flame fan, the terrifying and dense profound energy, slowly rippled out in the air. Yiqing Luo, don't go near him. A weak voice came from not far away. It was Zhu Wuxin. His scorching cold eyes congealed on Yiqing Luo, focused and serious. 10,000 years ago, other than the one who gets you, gets the world. Actually, there's still the second half of the prophecy. Zhu Wuxian's words not only made Yiqing Luo look towards him. Even Huang Wuyo, who was smiling weirdly, looked over. There was a second half to the prophecy? What did that mean? The second half is, Zhu Wuxian looked at Yiqing Luo as he spoke out word by word, Phoenix girl descending from the heavens, the awakening of the Phoenix, is about to destroy the world. Impossible. Huang Wuyo roared in anger, his eyes bloodshot. His body, which was curled up under the seal, was extremely tense and trembling. It was like a demon that was about to break free from its shackles in rage. The awakening of the Phoenix, the destruction of the world? Just based on Yiqing Luo. How could he possibly destroy Wanshi? How could someone like her, who valued relationships and loyalty so much, destroy the world? Zhu Wuxin said mockingly, the prophecies of the illusion race have never been successful. Back then, after Venerable Carefree obtained the first clue, he exterminated the entire illusion race. How did he know the second half of the prophecy? Then how did you know? Huang Guiyou was furious. Back then, Huang Guiyou had gone back to find the illusion race. It was because he believed in the prophecy of the illusory race. Now that he heard Zhu Wuxin's words, it was completely different from the prophecy he had heard. His confidence and belief that he would soon be able to control all the worlds in the world also showed signs of collapsing at this moment. The one who obtained the Phoenix Lady would obtain the world. The awakening of the Phoenix would destroy the world. These two prophecies. There were two completely different results. He had painstakingly planned all of this, and he had even given up on the warmth that he had once wanted for a moment. He wholeheartedly lured the so-called Phoenix Lady, which was Yiqing Luo, into this world. All for the sake of obtaining Yiqing Luo, to obtain the myriad worlds. But, now, this Phoenix girl that he had painstakingly designed, the one who could make him stand above all worlds, instead, he became the person who destroyed the world. It was also to destroy the person he wished for. No. Absolutely impossible. He would absolutely not let Yiqing Luo become the person who would destroy the world. What he wanted was for her to become his tool. The ruthlessness and profound yin qi in Huang Guiyou's eyes intensified. Her eyes were almost covered with a layer of deep darkness. Meanwhile, the mysterious yin qi, which had turned into countless thin threads, suddenly twisted. The thin threads, carrying with them a ferocious and terrifying power, twisted and spiraled, forming a strange totem. The densely packed streams of black light were exceptionally obvious under the blazing flames. That complicated totem was clearly reflected in Yiqing Luo's eyes. The girl's long and narrow eyes flickered with a cold light, like ice falling from the sky, without the slightest fluctuation of emotion. Huang Guiyou had always been good at using sinister and cunning methods. Especially, he knew all kinds of ancient forbidden techniques, forbidden spells, forbidden formations, and other unorthodox things. This totem, she was afraid. Yiqing Luo's eyes narrowed dangerously. Her fingertips moved swiftly. The glower flame fan spun out a fire dragon, bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it pounced towards that totem. Boom, a deafening explosion was heard. The entire space seemed to have exploded. The raging flame spun rapidly and started to distort. Trash seventh young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Trash seventh young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-58. Her profound energy was unable to get close to that distorted totem. Just at this moment. Ah, a crisp child's voice was heard from nowhere. After Yiqing Luo retracted her profound energy, she saw two black figures descending from the sky from the distorted totem. Then, it smashed heavily into the distorted spatial light wave and rolled a few times in a row. The distorted totem turned into densely packed black rays of light. Like a broken spider web, it spread out densely. Yiqing Luo's vision, when it met those two figures, her pupils congealed. The expression on her face instantly tensed up. She didn't have time to think. She had already leapt up, as her figure speedily headed towards the direction of that totem. Her hand was just about to touch those two figures. A loud boom was heard. A burst of valiant profound yin qi brushed past her arm, bringing along a piercingly cold gloomy malevolence. Those two figures were firmly bound in mid-air by two balls of profound yin qi. Raging flames surged. The profound yin qi's undulations were extremely messy. Yiqing Luo congealed her eyes, as she stared intently at those two figures, as her voice sunk slightly. Huang Guiyou, what are you trying to do? Huang Guiyou's face turned pale, as cold sweat kept dripping down. But he still grinned widely, as he gave a horrifying and crazy smile. He forced himself to take a breath, as he looked at the two figures entangled in the profound yin qi, as he laughed coldly. This seat admires you very much, my precious daughter. If you're willing to become this seat's assistants, I believe This seat will dote on you, this daughter. Very few people are able to force this seat to such a state. Although he was smiling, the tone in his words was incomparably cold, with a hint of viciousness. Yiqing Luo's expression darkened, as her gaze swept past those two figures, as she spoke with some ridicule. Dote on your daughter? Your current behavior makes me very suspicious. Are you able to be a good father, and dote on me? She clenched the glower flame fan in her hands tightly. You pulled Ling Long here, to make use of Ling Long, to threaten me? Yes, Ling Long, Huang Guio's biological daughter. Princess Ling Long of the secluded palace. That, her half-sister. Right now, it was being entangled by Huang Guio's mystical Yin energy. Earlier, Huang Guio had used the mysterious Yin energy to execute a forbidden spell to summon Ling Long. Yiqing Luo didn't quite understand. Why did Huang Guio summon Ling Long over? Especially, Ling Long had been summoned, and the other small figure was none other than Feng Shi. Big sister, after hearing Yiqing Luo's voice. The two little people, who were entangled by the mysterious Yin Qi, painfully spat out two words. They all looked towards Yiqing Luo. Her face was filled with pain and bewilderment. He had no idea what was going on. Yiqing Luo's eyes sunk by several degrees as the dim light in her eyes fluctuated. She pursed her lips and made her voice calm down. Don't worry, sister will save you right now. Save? Huang Guio scoffed lightly, as his face was filled with ridicule. You're thinking too simply. His gaze swept past Yiqing Luo greedily. My good daughter, to this seat, she no longer has any use, so naturally she will no longer receive this seat's love. But, you're different. Your intelligence, your ability, will be this seat's best aid. This seat will naturally. While you still have value, I will give you a father's love. Huang Guio's words were extremely straightforward. Trash 7th young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Trash 7th young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-59. There was no emotion in his words at all. As though no matter who it was, in his eyes, they were just tools that could be used. If they had no value, then they could be abandoned anytime. Yiqing Luo laughed when she heard that. Her long and narrow eyes stared coldly at Huang Guio. The coldness in her eyes made her look extremely sharp. Then what makes you think that I am willing to be your tool? Her pink lips curved slightly, as though she was smiling. However, the coldness in her eyes caused her smile to be even more horrifying and cold. As for me, I actually have something in common with you. She scoffed lightly as her words were icy cold. I only want to control my life in my own hands. When Huang Guio heard that, he laughed sinisterly and sharply. That laughter was so ear-piercing that it made one's hair stand on end. The more he laughed, the higher the frequency of the vibration in his chest. As though he was trying his best to endure the pain in his body. As for Feng Shi and Ling Long, who were entangled by the two balls of profound Yin Qi, they were howling in pain along with Huang Guio's ear-piercing laughter. Children had always been afraid of pain. Towards Huang Guio's toughness, they couldn't take it at all. Yiqing Luo pursed her pink lips as she looked at Feng Shi's face, which was filled with pain. Her brows knitted even tighter. Huang Guio listened to the child's low moans and miserable cries, and heard Yiqing Luo's low cry as he laughed even more savagely. Ever since Ling Long was born, this seat had already cast a master and servant forbidden curse on her. As long as this seat is willing, I can summon her anytime and anywhere. Master-servant forbidden spell? When she heard these words, Yiqing Luo's expression suddenly darkened. What kind of beast was he, to cast such a forbidden spell on his own biological daughter? Summon her anytime and anywhere? What did he treat Ling Long as? As though he could see Yiqing Luo's anger and doubts. Huang Guio's smile became even more sinister. I allowed Ling Long to be born because I wanted to see if my other children, other than my and Feng Ji's bloodline, which can form the Divine Phoenix Profound Heart Jade, could also possess the Divine Phoenix Profound Heart Jade. He sighed softly as his tone was filled with pity. What a pity. Linglong has disappointed this seat. Fa, father. Linglong's voice was hoarse as she listened to Huang Guio's cold voice, which she couldn't understand at all. Her heart was filled with panic and fear. But she was also clear that the person who made her so miserable and afraid was her father. However, it doesn't matter. After all, he is a descendant of this Great One's bloodline. He will more or less be of some use to this Great One. Huang Guio cast a sharp glance at Linglong. Thick profound yin qi entangled Linglong and sent her towards Huang Guio's direction. She was so angry that her eyes turned red as she struggled with all her might while shouting Linglong's name. Linglong was scared out of her wits as she looked at this father who she seldom saw but treated her very well and was very gentle. But now he had such a hideous and terrifying smile. This seat's original intention was to summon Linglong over. I didn't expect that child from the Feng family would forcefully follow me. Huang Guio clicked his tongue. You Feng family people are so troublesome. So sentimental at such a young age. And the consequence of this is. He smiled maliciously. He has become a tool for this seat to restrain you. Chapter 52-60. Huang Guio's words made Yiqing Luo understand the reason why she was summoned here. It was probably because, when Huang Guio used the forbidden spell to summon Linglong to this sealed grounds, she was by the side. She didn't know what method she used, but she was brought into the sealed grounds together with Linglong. She squinted her long and narrow eyes as her gaze met with She's undetectable gaze. She gave a comforting look, indicating to She not to panic. Then, he turned his gaze to Linglong, who had been sent to Huang Guio by the profound yin energy and was standing very close to him. She was secretly guessing what scheme Huang Guio was trying to use Linglong to complete. My dear daughter, don't have any crooked ideas. Huang Guio grinned eerily as that pair of sinister and scarlet eyes revealed a sinister cold glint. Now, there's no way for you to turn back. Just as he finished his sentence. Bam! The surging wave was like a surging huge wave, bringing along the majestic profound energy as it crashed onto the surrounding profound waves. The thin mysterious yin qi, which had been scattered by the attack, suddenly grew thicker. The thick black qi filled the entire area in front of Yiqing Luo. It covered the sky full of raging flames. Yiqing Luo thought that she had gone blind for a moment. However, this darkness only lasted for a moment. After the thick black qi surged like waves. Not long later, the raging flames surged up again, suppressing the thick black profound yin qi. The two forces tangled with each other in mid-air, killing each other. The two terrifying forces clashed against each other. The raging profound waves in the air were vibrating. And it was at this moment when the raging flames intertwined. Yiqing Luo saw, Linglong's tiny body floated in front of Huang Guio. Her four limbs seemed to be bound by something as they were wide open, unable to move at all. That pair of black bright eyes widened in disbelief as she looked ahead with some fear and uneasiness. She wanted to struggle but had no energy to move. Her tiny body was in the thick black profound yin qi. The vast and terrifying energy kept colliding between the two forces. Yiqing Luo. Under the onslaught of this boundless and terrifying power, the man's cold and weak voice came from behind. Yiqing Luo abruptly turned her head back. Unbeknownst to her, Zhu Wuxin was being supported by a member of the illusion race. That cold and handsome face seemed a little pale under the raging flames that filled the sky. Yiqing Luo frowned. Isn't it better to stay at your clansman's side? Right now, you are the only hope of the illusion tribe. How can you be so willful and not care about your own body? Zhu Wuxin's dark eyes brightened slightly. You're still worried about me? Yiqing Luo. She didn't have the time to argue with him about this kind of meaningless question. She retracted her gaze and looked in the direction of Huang Guio. His mind was spinning rapidly as he tried to think of a way to rescue Shi and Linglong from Huang Guio's hands. Behind him, Zhu Wuxin's indifferent voice sounded again. If I'm not wrong, revered Worryless wants to use this young lady as a sacrifice to break the seal. Sacrificial offerings? Yi Qing Luo's heart tightened. What do you mean? Since revered Worryless is able to condense his soul consciousness and break free from the seal, using his human form to meet us, that's enough to prove that he has the ability to break this barrier. Trash 7th Young Mistress, Lord Di Zun, please be gentler with your love. Trash 7th Young Mistress, Lord Di Zun, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-61. Zhu Wuxian's words made Yi Qing Luo's pupils shrink slightly. Her brows were tightly knitted as her eyes were filled with sharpness. What you mean is, there's another reason why he hasn't broken the seal yet? Zhu Wuxian's gaze shot towards Huang Wuyo. He should be waiting to absorb enough energy so that he can break the seal with his peak energy to be reborn. Peak energy. Yi Qing Luo's eyes widened. She understood. Zhu Wuxian meant Huang Wuyo had yet to break the seal because his current energy had not recovered to the state back then. He was conserving his energy, making use of this huge forbidden curse to give his soul and his body, which had been sealed for thousands of years, a brand new state. But now, Huang Wuyo wanted to directly break the seal. Under this kind of condition where his soul was injured and his soul was injected with poison, break the seal? No wonder. Huang Wuyo had just said that she was forcing him. Huang Wuyo was forced by him to break the seal in advance. And this opportunity to break the seal, could it be related to Linglong? Otherwise, based on Huang Wuyo's character, how could he possibly cast the so-called master and servant forbidden curse on Linglong? And at such a critical juncture, he even exhausted his energy to summon Linglong over? All these thoughts started to form in her mind bit by bit. She also understood the cause and effect of everything. She raised her eyes as her vision fell onto the little girl who had a painful expression. Linglong didn't know what her father wanted to do to her. Her eyes were misty with tears as she looked at Huang Wuyo pitifully, attempting to get a little bit of pity from him. But the little girl's eyes were blurred with tears. The only thing that could be seen was the sinister, twisted, and malicious smile on his face. Suddenly, Linglong's mind buzzed. Vaguely, she seemed to hear a soft voice, like a gentle breeze, dispelling the pain in her body, ringing in her mind. Yes, it was her mind, not her ears. As though a voice had appeared out of thin air in her mind. Linglong, that voice was calling her name. Linglong went into a blank as her heart was shocked. This was... Sister? It's me. That voice, gently rang, don't say anything, listen to sister. Linglong's tiny body trembled slightly. Do you trust me? The girl asked in a gentle voice. Linglong endured the pain in her body and answered in her heart, I do. The girl smiled. Be good. Close your eyes and have a good sleep. When you wake up, everything will be over. Sleep? How was she supposed to sleep? The energy surrounding her seemed to want to suck her dry. Her pain was unbearable. But listening to the girl's gentle voice, Linglong couldn't help but want to believe it. Her tear-stained eyes trembled as she closed them. In the instant that he closed his eyes, Yi Zichen's expression changed. As she breathed, she seemed to smell a faint medicinal fragrance. In the next instant, she lost all consciousness and senses and fell into a deep slumber. Huh? Huang Wuyo was currently injecting profound yin energy into Linglong's body. Suddenly, the little person who was struggling in the mysterious yin qi stopped struggling and became motionless. He paused for a moment and sent out his mysterious yin qi. He discovered that Linglong had completely lost consciousness. His brows creased slightly as an ominous premonition arose in his heart. He suddenly raised his head and looked towards Yi Qing Luo. Coincidentally, he met with the young lady's narrow, slightly curved eyes. 7th Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. 7th Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-62. That pair of eyes was like a vast starry sky, twinkling with stars. Between the ripples of light, there were spots of cold light, revealing a sharp edge. Huang Guiyou realized something. Swiftly carrying Linglong, he released an even thicker profound yin qi, wrapping Linglong up tightly. Bam! A strong and majestic profound ray surged over. The raging flame was like a fire dragon, or a phoenix spreading its wings. It was especially obvious under the fiery red sky. The young lady in peach blossom robes and jet black hair, under the raging flame, was as red as fire. Her slender, jade-like fingers held a devouring flame fan that was filled with raging flames. In a split second, like a rainbow, it exploded. The young lady's actions were extremely fast. And she was totally unafraid of the surrounding profound yin qi. He forcefully used his own body to knock away the mysterious yin energy that filled the sky as he flew towards Huang Guiyou to attack him. The glower flame fan split the wind and waves. Yiqing Luo's approach was not obstructed at all. If it wasn't for the close distance. Huang Guiyou could see Yiqing Luo's resolute and icy cold eyes, but with a slight hint of pain. He thought. Yiqing Luo had no feeling towards his profound yin qi's corrosion. Earlier, Yiqing Luo had obviously sensed his intention to use the profound yin qi to control her. This caused his profound yin qi to be unable to harm Yiqing Luo. But now, Yiqing Luo actually took the initiative to knock against his profound yin qi. Was she trying to save Linglong by force? Ha! She was willing to sacrifice herself. Huang Guiyou's eyes shot out a malicious glint, the profound yin qi around him became thicker. The moment Yiqing Luo rushed over, she immediately sucked Linglong, who was wrapped like a cicada pupa, into his palm. Even though her limbs were tightly bound by the God Emperor seal, he still held on to Linglong's arm firmly. That tiny figure was faintly discernible under the thick darkness. But he did not continue to do anything to Linglong. But at the moment when Yiqing Luo's target was Linglong, the overwhelming profound yin qi was like a tidal wave, entangling towards Yiqing Luo. But the profound yin qi's entanglement was just a pile of air. The girl with black hair and peach-colored clothes disappeared into the darkness. Huang Guiyou's expression stiffened slightly, as if he had suddenly recalled something, causing his expression to change greatly. However, he did not have time to react. The next moment, the girl's cool and clear voice reached his ears. Have you reacted? Unfortunately, it's too late. That voice was so close to him. Shockingly, it came from right beside him. At the same time, a chilling killing intent was transmitted over Yiqing Luo, who possessed the Azure Dew bracelet. On top of that, he also knew one of the 5 ghosts' ancient secret arts, the teleportation secret art. Her target had never been Linglong from the start. It was him. Huang Guiyou was infuriated. This Yiqing Luo, was she fooling him? Did she think it would be that easy to kill him? What a joke. Huang Guiyou thought that he understood Yiqing Luo very well and thought that he had guessed correctly about Yiqing Luo, so that now he was both embarrassed and annoyed. There was only one thought in his mind. That was to make Yiqing Luo's motive fail. 10,000 years ago, he lost to Feng Ge because of a moment of soft-heartedness. 10,000 years later, he absolutely could not lose to Feng Ji's daughter, his own daughter. Huang Guiyou's throat exploded with a hoarse roar. The vast profound yin qi crazily surged towards Yiqing Luo. The overbearing aura which bared its fangs and brandished its claws seemed to want to swallow Yiqing Luo. But which was the moment when Huang Guiyou raged and launched his attack. The young lady's pink lips curled up bit by bit. 7th Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. 7th Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-63. She raised her hand. Her palm was covered with a layer of blood stains. The traces of blood were distinct on her fair and delicate palm, outlining a totem that wasn't too complicated, but it was hard to understand. Indistinctly, it seemed as though a phoenix was spreading its wings in the palm, flashing its dazzling tail. That was the God Emperor's blood. Huang Guio's expression was so dark that it seemed as though water could drip out. This Yiqing Luo actually thought of using the God Emperor's blood to condense the God Emperor's inheritance power in an attempt to injure him. He had a good daughter, her brain was really quick. Huang Guio's expression was sinister as his eyes were filled with a haze of viciousness. Don't belittle me. He gave a shrill cry as a thick profound yin qi suddenly surged and the rising and explosive aura instantly attacked Yiqing Luo. He had also successfully imprisoned Yiqing Luo's hand firmly. Huang Guio laughed sinisterly but before he could say a word. Suddenly, a weak fluctuation made him turn his gaze towards that direction. He saw that tiny figure was pulling Linglong out from the profound yin qi which he had no time to care about. The little boy's little hand held Linglong's little hand tightly and after pulling her to his side, he immediately turned around and ran towards the direction of the illusion clan. Huang Guio's pupils contracted. Linglong. Huang Guio, your opponent is me. The young lady's clear voice was as clear as water. Just as Huang Guio was attempting to chase after Feng Shi, her power suddenly wrapped around Huang Guio, preventing him from moving. Feng Shi was very smart. He knew that as long as he entered the protection circle of the illusion clan, he and Linglong would be safe for the time being. Huang Guio was indeed pinned down by Yiqing Luo. Huang Guio's guess right from the start was actually correct. Yiqing Luo's motive was only to save Linglong from the start. And what she relied on was Huang Guio's conceit. Moreover, her plan had succeeded. Huang Guio's conceit made him believe in his own judgment which gave her the opportunity to take advantage of. Her repeated provocations had already disrupted Huang Guio's rhythm. And the reason why she thought of using her blood to intimidate Huang Guio was actually because of Huang Guio. Huang Guio didn't show it. But Yiqing Luo could clearly feel Huang Guio's fear towards the God Emperor seal. The Divine Emperor seal was a seal that his mother had used up all her strength to set up. She kept thinking about it. His mother's power had suppressed Huang Guio. Then, as the daughter of the Divine Emperor and the inheritor of the Divine Emperor's legacy, would she also have some influence on Huang Guio? Since he had a guess in his heart, he would act on it. Yiqing Luo used her God Emperor blood to attack Huang Guio. As expected, it caused Huang Guio to retaliate. Huang Guio had never expected that the situation, which had been under his control, would develop to such an extent. He stared fiercely at Yiqing Luo, as though he was in a state of rage. What a good Feng Qing Luo. You've really, completely infuriated this seat. When he called Yiqing Luo, it was no longer a disgusting term like baby daughter. He no longer called her by her surname of Yi. Instead, he directly called out her current name. Feng family, Feng Qing Luo. It could be seen how angry Huang Guio was right now. Yiqing Luo stopped Huang Guio and on seeing that the two little people had entered the illusory clan's area, she then guarded against Huang Guio's attack and leapt to a safer place. Chapter 52-64. Do you think that after scheming against me, I will still give you a chance to escape? Huang Guio was infuriated as his emotions became more and more violent. The profound yin qi became more and more chaotic. The raging flames in the entire sealed space started to surge more and more violently. Yiqing Luo stepped on the flaming dragon as her pink dress fluttered under the raging flames. The flames which were emitted from her body collided with the profound yin qi, giving off an intense sizzling sound. Huang Guio was infuriated as his face contorted, as though he was going to perish together with his opponent, emitting an intense murderous aura as he drove the profound yin qi towards Yiqing Luo. The majestic profound yin qi was filled with murderous intent. This was all the original plans had failed, hence he flew into a rage out of humiliation, intending to drag her to hell together. Yiqing Luo ridiculed silently as she looked at Huang Guio vigilantly, speedily avoiding his attack range as she searched for the safest place to land. She didn't feel that Huang Wuyo was willing to die. Would he be willing to perish together with her? To Huang Wuyo, there was nothing in this world that was more important than him. To let him sacrifice his life in exchange for hers? How could that be possible? So it was impossible for Huang Wuyo to risk his life. This was what Yiqing Luo was thinking. But unfortunately, her guess seemed to be wrong. At the instance when Yiqing Luo evaded, Huang Wuyo's profound yin qi was like a black dragon baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it approached Yiqing Luo speedily. He totally disregarded the encroachment of the God Emperor's sealing power. The surging profound yin qi seemed to have filled every inch of his body. Rumble, the profound yin qi collided heavily against the surrounding raging flames. In a split second, the airwaves surged like rolling waves. The entire sealed space. It set off a raging wave. As though two whirlpools were formed, desperately absorbing the remaining living beings in the seal. The people from the illusory clan were obviously greatly affected. Several illusory clan members were forced to spit out a large mouthful of blood from the corner of their lips under the two raging forces. As for the others, some of them had pale faces, as though they could not hold on any longer. While some of them had a solemn expression with a burning gaze. But from that icy cold gaze, one could tell that they were also affected by the two forces. But fortunately, when everyone noticed the discomfort, Huan Three's fastest reaction was to hug the two of them into his embrace and inject profound energy to protect their heart veins and profound jade heart. Only then did they avoid being corroded by the strange energy. But, if this continued, he was afraid that they would not be able to hold on for much longer. The few people from the illusory race who were not too affected looked at each other and saw through each other's thoughts. He had to think of a way to leave this place. At this moment, Yiqing Luo's expression wasn't particularly good. Huang Wuyo's target was him. When the two forces collided, a majestic strength qi burst out. She was the one who was affected the most. She felt as if there was something heavy in her chest that was pressing down on her. It made her feel extremely oppressed and uncomfortable. Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased tightly as she tried hard to adjust her state. Her fingertips moved lightly as it formed a protective shield in front of her. Huang Wuyo sneered coldly. Towards Yiqing Luo's resistance, he didn't have the slightest bit of hesitation and directly attacked. His stance was as if he didn't care about his life and was using his life to fight with her. After a few rounds of exchanges, the intense murderous aura was boiling. Just as Yiqing Luo found an opportunity to aim at Huang Wuyo's vital point, at that instance. Suddenly, the profound yin qi in front of her distorted. Chapter 52-65. A loud buzzing sound exploded in Yiqing Luo's mind. Her slender brows creased tightly as she went into a momentary daze from the sudden explosion. That sound was like a sharp blade, piercing right into her eardrums. It was unbearable. She was very clear. This was Huang Wuyo who made use of the profound yin qi to create a sharp aura which formed into an explosion. He was trying to do what? Yiqing Luo's narrow eyes squinted dangerously as her expression congealed slightly as she gathered her mental energy in an attempt to resist against the buzzing explosion in her mind. But it was only for this instance of absent-mindedness. The profound yin qi which was coming towards her turned into a raging wave as it whizzed towards her. The sharp and piercing aura almost swallowed Yiqing Luo entirely. No matter how fast Yiqing Luo's reaction was. By the time she regained her senses and wanted to avoid it, it was already too late. Huang Wuyo, who was in a rage, unleashed his profound energy which was equivalent to perishing together with his opponent. Even if Yiqing Luo wasn't affected by this explosion, she didn't dare to guarantee that she would be able to withstand this attack from Huang Wuyo. Not to mention, Yiqing Luo's current mental energy was totally unable to gather. From the start when the sudden explosion exploded in her mind, she was stunned for a moment, but now she was clear of her own body's condition. However, that piercing sound that seemed to want to pierce through her soul and agitate her heart was still there, affecting her. Yiqing Luo. Not too far away, Zhu Wu Xian's cold yet worried voice rang urgently. Following that was the flustered voices of the people from the illusion clan who stopped Zhu Wu Xian. Yiqing Luo swiftly stretched out her hand as she pressed on the azure dew bracelet. The flowing red flames were like red lightning as it gave off a dazzling radiance. She didn't dare to guarantee that she was able to withstand Huang Wuyo's self-damaging attack. But, at least she couldn't let herself be hurt by Huang Wuyo. Just at this moment, a figure flashed past Yiqing Luo's eyes. Following that, she heard a dull moan. The body of the man in blue robes with a gentle and refined face shook violently. Raging flames flew as the blue robe flew. Under the lingering flames, the embroidery on the blue robe appeared extremely bright. Yiqing Luo's long eyelashes fluttered. Her eyes, which were as bright as the stars, reflected the man's clear, gentle, and handsome face. Her eyebrows and eyes were as clear as jade, as if she was bathing in the spring breeze. His clear, glass-like eyes stared deeply at the young girl. It was as if he wanted to carve the young girl deep into his mind. That kind of focus, that kind of deep love. It was as if she was the only one in his world. Yiqing Luo's throat tightened. Gu Jingyu, in front of her, the man who stood in front of her and took all of Huang Wuyo's attacks without any protection was Gu Jingyu, who had been fighting with the illusion race. Gu Jingyu, who had lost all his emotions and became a killing machine for Huang Wuyo. But now, Gu Jingyu seemed to have recovered. Qing Luo. The man's firm and smooth voice was like a warm spring breeze, pleasant to the ear and gentle. However, the moment he opened his mouth, blood slowly flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Yiqing Luo's brows creased tightly. What are you doing? Gu Jingyu's lips curled slightly, not caring about the blood that flowed out. He only wanted to give all his gentleness and affection to Yiqing Luo wholeheartedly. I have memories of everything that had happened during this period of time. His voice was still gentle, but his breathing was so weak that it seemed as though he would stop breathing in the next moment. Chapter 52-66. Yiqing Luo's long eyelashes fluttered as her throat felt dry. Gu Jingyu looked at her, strenuously but stubbornly curled his lips as he gave a gentle smile. I know, I have done quite a number of wrong things. Several times, I almost hurt you. He closed his eyes, looking slightly tired but stubbornly. He wanted to open his eyes to look at her. The person I don't want to hurt the most, is you. But he, still did something to hurt Yiqing Luo. Or let Yiqing Luo, into deep danger. Yiqing Luo pursed her pink lips as she shook her head. That's not your fault. All this, was because Huang Wuyo. This couldn't be blamed on Gu Jingyu. She had never blamed Gu Jingyu. After all, the one who made you become like that was me. She lowered her head slightly as she sighed softly. A faint helplessness flashed past her brows. I should apologize to you, for making you lose so much. Gu Jingyu shook his head gently. That pair of deep eyes gazed deeply at Yiqing Luo's face, that kind of concentration and greed. His pale thin lips were stained with blood, which made his face, which was gradually turning pale, become ghastly pale. I don't blame you, that was my own choice. Gu Jingyu took a deep and shallow breath. Every breath he took, his brows creased, apparently in extreme pain. Yiqing Luo wanted to go up, to support Gu Jingyu's tottering body. Before she got close, she was stopped by Gu Jingyu. Don't come over. Yiqing Luo's footsteps halted. Gu Jingyu's attitude was rare, cold and persistent. Don't come over, don't give me the last tenderness. Don't let me, till death, still have thoughts about you. Yiqing Luo's pink lips moved, but she didn't know what to say. Looking at the young lady's face, that slightly struggling expression, Gu Jingyu gave a low laugh. A laugh, a cough. More and more blood seeped out from the corner of his lips. Gu Jingyu. Mixed with a raging cold sharp voice, it was hard to conceal his anger. Huang Wuyo's voice was hoarse, almost crazy. This seat saved you that time, taught you to become a strong cultivator, gave you a supreme status. this is how you repay this seat? The man who was bound by the flames sealed by the divine emperor. His face, which was exposed outside the flames, was almost distorted beyond recognition. Gu Jingyu didn't turn around. He didn't even look at him. The corners of his lips twitched slightly. Between his gentle brows, a hint of mockery flashed past. Even that light and soundless voice carried a hint of self-mockery. Master, do you really think that I don't know anything? You saved me and taught me, just because I am a tool that can unlock your seal. He chuckled, but there was no hint of a smile in his eyes. You and I are just using each other. How can we talk about repayment? Huang Guio's face contorted as he roared in anger. It is your honor that this seat has taken a liking to you. This is not a reason for you to betray this seat. Huang Guio roared. It was the mysterious Yin Qi that was contending with the raging flames. All of a sudden, it turned into a huge wave. Since you already know what you're good for, now, it's time to play your part. Bang! As soon as Huang Guio finished speaking, a loud explosion rang out. Yiqing Luo had yet to react. In front of her, the gentle and graceful young master of an aristocratic family, who had a gentle smile on his face, was instantly engulfed by the mysterious Yin energy, and it was at this moment. Yiqing Luo clearly saw, Gu Jingyu's back was already drenched in blood. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. Seventh Miss Who Likes Trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-67. The surging profound Yin Qi was like a sharp blade, cutting Gu Jingyu's skin. The thick profound Yin Qi drew a complicated and strange totem on his back. It was like a whirlpool, gathering behind him. Yiqing Luo's heart was heavy. No wonder he didn't allow her to get close. Just afraid, she discovered something strange about him. He was also afraid that she would be engulfed by the profound Yin Qi that he couldn't control. Thus, he would rather suffer great pain than let her find out about it. Suddenly, a scream was heard from the crowd. A child's crisp voice made Yiqing Luo regain her senses from the tightness in her heart. She looked towards the direction of the voice. She saw Linglong was once again lifted into mid-air by the profound Yin Qi. Thong she was chasing after Linglong. The thick profound Yin Qi wrapped Linglong in it. Linglong was struggling in pain in the profound Yin Qi. Thong she wanted to pounce forward. But how could she catch up to the profound Yin Qi? On the contrary, he was sent flying by the surging flames and the mysterious Yin energy that came from the collision. Luckily the people from the Illusion clan still had some conscience as they caught Thong Shi in time. Master, he wants to make use of Princess Linglong's blood to break out of the array. Gu Jingyu's breathing was tight, as though he was holding on to his last breath. In the whistling air, his voice was so weak that it couldn't be heard clearly. Yiqing Luo clenched her fists when she heard that lead. I'm afraid Princess Linglong won't be able to live. Gu Jingyu shook his head strenuously. Bring them out of here now, leave the rest to me. What do you want to do? Yiqing Luo narrowed her eyes, not believing that Gu Jingyu had a way to suppress Huang Wuyo. Gu Jingyu lowered his head as he gave a forced smile. I know, as Master's disciple, and I've done so many things for Master, it's natural that you don't believe me. This has nothing to do with trust, but the current situation is to seal Huang Wuyo, or rather, to make Huang Wuyo fall into eternal slumber. Yiqing Luo walked towards Gu Jingyu. As for you, I might have guessed what you're planning. Gu Jingyu's gentle pupils shrank slightly. When Yiqing Luo walked right in front of him, his tottering body speedily retreated 2 steps. Because of this movement, it affected the wound on his back, and he felt a heart-wrenching pain. It was as if thousands of sharp knives were cutting his skin. Huang Wuyo would never give you this chance, you're not his match. Yiqing Luo stopped in her tracks and didn't go near Gu Jingyu. Her line of sight went past Gu Jingyu and landed on Huang Wuyo, who had a ferocious expression and was entangled with the power of the Divine Emperor's seal. If you want to live, then don't get involved. Since you can come in, you must have a way out. If you can, take those people, and leave this place. Her tone became more and more solemn. Huang Wuyo was currently fighting against the power of the God Emperor's seal. As such, Linglong was not in danger for the time being. However, the moment Huang Wuyo found an opportunity, Linglong might really become the so-called primer. Linglong was born into this world. Huang Wuyo initially wanted to see, based on his genes, even if it wasn't Fenggu, to see if he could give birth to a vessel that also nurtured the divine phoenix profound jade heart. But after Linglong was born, apparently she didn't. Trash 7th young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Trash 7th young mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-68. Whereas for someone like Huang Wuyo, who only cared about benefits, he was able to let Linglong live without worries, enjoying the treatment of a princess and living till now. Other than Linglong, there were other uses. Yiqing Luo couldn't think of any other reasons. Earlier after Gu Jingyu's reminder, Yiqing Luo instantly understood. Linglong was Huang Wuyo's direct descendant and the blood flowing in her body was Huang Wuyo's. Huang Wuyo must have thought of some way to make use of this point as a catalyst to break the God Emperor's seal. No wonder Huang Wuyo would cast a master and servant forbidden curse on Linglong. Separated by a seal, it could be said to be another space, but he was still able to summon Linglong out of thin air. It's too late. Gu Jingyu gave a low chuckle. That chuckle was like smoke, about to dissipate in the next instance. Yiqing Luo frowned and was just about to speak. She heard Gu Jingyu's low voice saying, "I'm Master's tool, from the moment I stepped into this place, there's no way to turn back." He seemed to have difficulty breathing as he took a deep breath. "To be able to wake up at the last minute, to see you one last time, I have no regrets." His voice, word by word, seemed as though it would break any time. It was obviously difficult, but he was still trying his best to speak. "Gu Jingyu, you." Yiqing Luo heard Gu Jingyu's words, as though he was bidding farewell to her. Her brows creased even tighter as her peripheral vision saw the wisps of profound yin qi surging behind him, as her heart thumped hard. She stopped her voice and speedily approached Gu Jingyu as she stretched out her hand towards his back. His cold, bone-chilling hand gripped her wrist. At a close distance, Yiqing Luo raised her head and met with Gu Jingyu's gentle and clear eyes. Only, she could faintly see the faint mist in between his eyes. "Yiqing Luo, you must remember me." His words had just ended. Yiqing Luo felt a strong impact from where Gu Jingyu was holding her wrist. Immediately following that, she and Gu Jingyu were forcefully separated. Boom! The strong impact made Yiqing Luo's body fall backwards. She stabilized her figure when she hit the space barrier which was surrounded by raging flames. However, Gu Jingyu's entire body was sucked towards Huang Wuyo. Gu Jingyu. Yiqing Luo immediately wanted to rush towards Gu Jingyu's direction. However, the dense mysterious yin qi was like a sharp blade that cut through the raging flames in the sky. It stood in front of her, blocking her way. She wasn't sure if it was Yiqing Luo's misconception. Huang Wuyo's strength seemed to have become stronger, not allowing Yiqing Luo to think too much. The mysterious yin qi that was heading straight for her instantly turned into countless black threads that overlapped and intertwined in front of her eyes like shadows. At this moment, the Divine Emperor's sealing power was like a surging tidal wave, emitting a buzzing and explosive sound. Yiqing Luo's fingertips lifted slightly as she swiftly raised the glower flame fan to block off the fatal attack, while pulling out her attention to look at Huang Wuyo. On the other side, Gu Jingyu and Linglong floated to the left and right of Huang Wuyo. The dense mysterious yin qi was like an iron chain, binding them. But what made Yiqing Luo shocked was, under the guidance of Huang Wuyo's mysterious yin qi, the two of them on the left and right actually formed an extremely mysterious black light pillar. The direction that the light pillar headed towards. It was that piece of stone which was carved with a phoenix, which was also the stone tablet which was carved with the words, Huang Wuyo's grave. The huge stone tablet, under the entanglement of the raging flames and mysterious Qi, kept spinning crazily in midair. Trash 7th Young Mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Trash 7th Young Mistress, Lord Dizun, please be gentler with your love. Chapter 52-69. Even though they were separated by a long distance, Yiqing Luo could clearly feel that light pillar contained a powerful and boundless energy. If this went on, the Divine Emperor's seal would definitely collapse. Yiqing Luo's expression was solemn as her gaze turned towards Huang Wuyo. What on earth did he do? Could it be because of Linglong and Gu Jingyu, he had obtained a new power? And this power was enough to go against the God Emperor seal? Huang Wuyo was thinking of forcefully breaking the seal. Yiqing Luo realized Huang Wuyo's motive as her expression turned solemn. She squinted her long and narrow eyes as her fingertips moved and swiftly opened up a profound ray, enveloping that stone tablet. Closely and speedily attacking Huang Wuyo, attempting to stop his actions. 3 bursts of energy, in this not considered small but not big space, collided with one another as it agitated the entire space's air. It seemed as though there was a faint profound wave, rippling one after another. The people from the Illusion clan were obviously unable to hold on any longer as all of them relied on the illusory barrier to stabilize themselves. Some of them were even unable to stand properly. Ha! Huang Wuyo's sharp gaze fell onto Yiqing Luo, who was trying to stop him as his lips curled into a sinister sneer. Following that, a loud, rumbling sound was heard. That surging profound Qi suddenly expanded rapidly as it shot towards Yiqing Luo. That momentum was filled with a piercingly cold murderous intent. It was as though a hand stretched out from hell, trying to pull Yiqing Luo into hell. As the profound Qi surged to the maximum, as though it was released to the maximum. That thick black Qi was dyed with a layer of dark and unclear, totally undistinguishable strange flowing light. This sudden change in energy fluctuation made Yiqing Luo's face turn slightly pale as her petite body, which was suspended in mid-air, took 2 steps back. Apparently, it was already a little strenuous. At the same time, Huang Wuyo's cold smile and the twisted expression on his face slowly grew bigger. His gaze congealed as he shot out a burst of thick black Qi. Instantly, the sky filled with monstrous profound Qi turned into a huge black dragon as it brandished its claws and extended its huge tongue, directly swallowing towards Linglong. The other side. Gu Jingyu, whose entire body was dripping with blood, let out a painful groan as his whole body was filled with mysterious energy. Yiqing Luo could clearly see. Gu Jingyu, who was held in midair by the mysterious energy, had the strange totems drawn by the mysterious energy on her back spread out bit by bit along with the mysterious energy, emitting a black glow. It flickered on and off, like a mandala blooming in hell. It was so alluring that it was suffocating. A deafening explosion suddenly rang out from the 3 steels that were fighting against each other behind her. Yiqing Luo was pushed back 2 steps by the aftershock. The stone tablet was completely covered by the light pillar of mysterious Qi. Crack, vaguely, amidst the explosion, Yiqing Luo heard some shattering sounds. It was a seal, the Divine Emperor's seal was about to collapse. It seemed like she was not the only one needed to undo the seal. Linglong and Gu Jingyu were also crucial. If he did not stop Huang Wuyo's evil technique, she had no way to protect the sealing stone tablet. Just as Yiqing Luo's vision was moving back and forth between Linglong and Gu Jingyu, a burst of golden light broke through the interweaving between the raging flames and the profound Qi, charging straight towards Linglong. Let go of Linglong, no one is allowed to hurt Linglong. It was a crisp child's voice, but it was filled with extreme anger. 7th Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. 7th Miss who likes trash, Overlord, please be gentler with your love. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.